Hey friends, Tamika here again. Glad you could join me. Today I want to share and speak about missing your own moments. Um, yeah, this this comes from a place of me remembering or just having a recollection, if I will, from a moment of reflection, self-reflection, looking at behaviors that came from past patterns of how I experienced myself being in experienced relationships with a beloved. Okay. And so, because I want to stay on task, please forgive me if right now I read some things to you because it's going to help me maintain my point and speak to you with some clarity about what the outtake has been for me as a result of me coming into like this recollection of like, oh wow, that happened and you missed the moment. And now what can you do about it? Like, how are you going to see yourself? How are you going to treat yourself as a result of it moving forward? So, for a little bit of context, I called this note for myself certain moments where I know I really wasn't present. I wasn't present with what was in front of me. I wasn't seeing it for what it was. So I'll give you a tiny bit of a backstory on my personality. In my younger years as a child and into early adulthood, and I'll just be honest, into my 40s, okay? I had this habit of seeing people for how I wanted them to be instead of how they actually were showing up. I'm gonna let that land for a minute. I had this habit of mm, wanting somebody to be something so badly that I did not take in exactly what they were exhibiting. Call it what you want to call it, okay? But at some point, you learn, you grow and you go. So for me, the thing that pretty much influenced that, I can say for sure, is the way that I loved my mother. Mind you, she was an amazing person. She just didn't know how to be my mother. Okay. I'm the oldest child of four. The next child under me is like 8 years younger. And so you kind of like read in between the lines if you want to. But this experience of relating with my mom formed for me this idealism where one, I didn't use or know my own voice. And so I had this fantastical way of seeing her because I just wanted her approval, her acceptance. I wanted her adoration. I wanted her affection so bad that I just wouldn't see that one, she's a human, so but when you're a kid, you're thinking of these grown-ups who are in your life, somehow contributing to your existence as these magical people, or they're like these superheroes that do all of these grand things to make your life what it is, so you can have the things that you have and live where you live and dress how you dress and so on and so forth. Well, my mom was all of that to me, but she just didn't know how to be a mother to me. Later on in life, I learned some things about that, but to the point of this um, video today, I want to focus on realizing or having this realization of missing your moment, missing the opportunity to call a thing right then, right there, and let the wisdom of that thing that's presenting itself to you be your guide, as opposed to going into this whole little circle spiral thing of fantasizing about what somebody is or who somebody is because you have this desire to be in an experience with them so much that you harm yourself. Okay? You harm your reality. You harm the way that you experience life overall because you're still being Delulu. Now, mind you, I have this belief that delusion has its purpose. It has its place in specific areas of life. But that's not what this is about today. The delusion that I had was I really wanted to see only the good in my mother. I really wanted to hold this idea of who she was. And so I've let that bleed over into my relationships with men, okay? Even with girlfriends. So this particular experience I wrote about for myself because I was unpacking getting rid of this pattern and changing this behavior, mental behavior for the better for myself. So here it is, a little bit of information that I'm going to share as what unfolded for me and when I came into this realization of how I was perceiving things, how I let things just kind of go until it kind of hit me in the face. Okay. So, in a quiet moment, some memories of how I missed, wasn't really aware, or I wasn't paying attention to the way this person behaved. And it was pretty consistent. I see how I was motivated by fear of abandonment. And the shift that happened didn't really hit me the first time that this person left. This person left my life, left physically from my presence multiple times. Read between the lines. Um, the shift that happened didn't really hit me the first time that they left. I was befuddled with the whys, and there I was in a state of delusional bliss, believing that finally somebody was really there for me this time, and then they left. It was a ball of confusion that was in my head, and their lack of being straight, having straight talk with me, befuddled me and left me in a more strengthened state of dumbfoundedness. Okay. So, again, I'm not trusting myself. I'm not trusting what I'm seeing, what's right here in front of me, and not being clear, not being honest with myself because I want this thing to work and I'm going to do all that I possibly can to make it work. By yourself, Tamika. But I digress. So, of course, initially I went into a state of stupor. And then I advanced to consideration of knowing how good I am and all that I have exhibited to this person. And so my thoughts were, you know, I'm not possibly the reason why this is what it is. There's something else that I'm missing, okay? So I missed the moment of realizing they're doing what they're doing because this is who they are. Like my mother was who she was because that was who she was. And it's not up to me to try and curve, carve, paint any kind of other piece of work about who they are other than to accept who they are, right? And for me to either pivot or change course accordingly. That's really what it is. It's trusting yourself, trusting what you're seeing, realizing there's nothing for you to argue, there's nothing for you to submit to this person about what they're doing that's quote unquote right or wrong. Let that land. They are who they are. You have just as much power to show up in who you are. And who I was being at the time was just a damn fool, okay? So let's just call it that. I'm owning that right now, live and in color, sharing this with you. So this person returned into my life, and another departure would soon come into play. So if you're getting this understanding that I had this pattern where I did the same thing with my mom growing up, and like I said, I'm the oldest of her children. I gave her the benefit of the doubt so many times that it became absolutely like being a drug addict, like not realizing that I'm getting this kind of like fix, if you will, of the pull and the push of things between us. Like there's this dynamic where she, exit from me. I go live with my grandparents, and I would get like this rush of excitement and this fix of, oh, she's coming, and then she would come and get me again, and then life would be what it was with her. And then I would, end up be at some point just being the child, the adult child, if you will, or childish adult. I don't know, however you want to say it. Um, but it's like that. It's this thing where you get used to being in this groove or loop, I like to call it, of accepting something so many times and not recognizing this is harmful. Like, this is a mess. I'm not supposed to feel like this. Why am I accepting this from my mom? So, because she was my mom, I thought I have to go through this or I have to just kind of contend with it. And that's just bled out into the way that I experienced people, relationships, friendships. Fast forward to this person, um, was in my life, kind of sad to say, for over 10 years. Okay. Not because of them, but because I was a drug addict. Because I'm the one who kept this push and pull thing going with them. So the reason why I realized I missed my moment back when I was a child, but I wasn't trusting my own voice, my own inner knowing that was saying, this isn't love. This is codependency. This is you not trusting your own like inner strength, your own ability. And I had a strength, it just wasn't being applied to the places that would help protect me from emotional harm, emotional misuse. Okay. So the way that I realized, when I realized that I missed my moment with this person and ultimately came to the point that, okay, I get it now. When I finally had enough of being breadcrumbed and accepting that you're not getting anywhere with this person. You were never going to get anywhere with this person. And this person is here to teach you that through your experience with them. It's not I need to blame them for why I'm not further ahead, or I was making all of these choices by myself. No one forced me. And let's just go to this point of when somebody shows you, not even uses their words, but they show you who they are, it is really, really, the ball's in your court, of whether or not to believe them. Okay. So again, I went from taking that pattern of behavior, just mental behavior, mental way of processing what I was seeing and witnessing with people, again, starting with my foundation, my mother, thinking that, oh, it's some people in this world, they're just, because of their background and stuff that that they've gone through, even in their own childhood or whatever, doesn't matter. Another point that came through for me was simply because a person goes through certain things in their youth, and it definitely influences the way that they relate with people outside of, like their familial aspects and things, it's still not up to me to try and fix that. That's who they are. And just like I had to come to like this aha moment, this epiphanical experience of like, girl, you have been self-harming for several years. It's up to me to make the adjustment. It's up to me to say, wow. I'm the one who has a problem. I'm the one who needs to look at how I want to be treated. That's the bottom line. How do I want to be treated? There are children who know that adults are harming them, and they're not finna just sit and take it. I don't know why little Tammy just accepted what was happening. Why I was so afraid to, even if I didn't have the language, to be able to express, I don't like this. I don't like how it feels. There's this whole nervous thing that was going on with me all the time. I was a thumb sucker until I was probably 10 years old. Like, these are all little like things you can point to and see. There's no reason for me to accept this kind of behavior from other people. They can do what they're going to do. Again, that is on them. But how do I take care of, look out for me? So when I talk about missing my moments, there so many times. I had so many opportunities to pause and get out of the loop of fear that one, I had a fear of being abandoned. And I learned that over time, becoming a student of psychology, and usually, disclaimer, there are more psychologists who became psychologists because of their own experiences than there are those who just had a state of curiosity. Okay. I'm sure people know that, but I just had to put that out there. I recognize how important it is to show yourself how you want to be treated. So that way you strengthen, that part of just your own integrity, your own dignity. How you want to be treated is examined and exemplified through you first, and not so much through other people. You respond to what you see and observe and experience with other people. Your response is your teacher. Like, they're showing you, but then you get to take action. That's just important that people exercise that. I come from this energy, this background of people pleasing simply because of what I shared with you. Wanting my mother to want me, wanting my mother to see me differently than just her good little girl, who was so compliant, who would, do whatever it took. I was always looking for her validation. I needed to know that I pleased her in some way so that, she would laud on me in a different way, not just, oh, she's such a good student. She's so smart. She's in the spelling bee. She's got these A's on her report card. She's going to college, like all the things. That's great. That's great. But I missed out on all the emotional affection. I missed out on all of the getting my emotional self fulfilled from the people who were the caregivers in my childhood. And so like I said, I turned all of that and used all of that energy in my relationships. And it has been a heck of a journey getting to this point of just, yeah, me, myself, and I. Coming to acceptance of this is a pattern I needed to break for myself. I have had multiple teachers, multiple actors in my theater, if you will, who definitely played their parts really well. And I'm the one who did not walk away um, with the empowerment that was available to me when it could have been available to me. I won't say that it's too late that I've learned it, at this point, because I still have so much life that I want to live and that I intend to live. But at the same time, I'm sharing this because I am in big hopes that there are folks out there, I don't care how old or young you are, that you just don't self-sacrifice like that. That you just don't put yourself in this space of wanting something outside of you so badly that you're willing to be delusional in a harmful way. that you're willing to not see the forest for the trees, that you're willing to, you know, hold on because, oh man, yeah, we won't go that deep because I could, but don't hold on like that. Hold on to you. If you can't do anything else, look at what you're seeing with no filters, okay? No filters. There are no filters on this video. My background is a Zoom background of a piece of art that I loved, but that's it. I just don't have it in me to give anybody filters. And I think that is one of the greatest reasons it has taken me so long to start this whole YouTube thing. But here I am and I'm sharing my stories, okay? And I'm hoping that someone takes away something helpful from what I've shared about looking at see what you're looking at just as it is. Don't try to make it anything other than what you're seeing. That is the message. That is the thing that I missed, okay? That I can say was quiet choice. You make these little quiet agreements with yourself without saying anything out loud. You talk yourself into they're this and they're, a good person and they really mean well. Okay, meaning well and having the capacity to be a good person or the ability to be a good person does nothing for me. Does nothing for me. Who am I? Am I being honest with myself? No, I wasn't being honest with myself at all. And I don't recommend you lying to you, okay? Folks gonna do it all the time. Don't you be the one doing it too. And so with that, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I hope that you will continue to love yourself. Because, yeah, we all we got. Bye.